Today we're going to continue our one-step equations, but as we look at these are not addition equations. What are these? These are subtraction equations. So we're going to do the same process, but here it's saying a number minus 5 equals 9. So we need to figure out what this number is. To figure out what this number is, we have to undo or get rid of subtracting 5. So we have to do the inverse operation. We have to do the opposite of subtracting 5, which is what? What do we need to do? What's the opposite of subtracting 5? We need to add 5. So, and remember we said that this is like a balance, and where this equal sign is, whatever happens over here has to happen over here. So, if in order to get this a by itself, we have to add 5 to this side, then over here we're going to have to add 5 to this side, and then draw our line. And then a minus nothing is still a. We have a negative 5 and a positive 5. We know those are zero pairs. When you have a negative and positive, you have opposites that make a 0. So we cross that out. Make sure that you're crossing it out. Lots of folks are leaving that step off. Bring your equal sign straight down. And what is 9 plus 15? It's 14. So we have determined that a should equal 14. Yes? I'm sorry, 9 plus 5. 9 plus 5 is 14. And now it says to check your solution. So we're going to do the same thing. If a is 14, then we need to change that. 14 minus 5 is 9. Now do the math. Don't just, I see lots of people go, well, if that's a 9, that's a 9. You have to actually do the math. 14 minus 5 is 9, and so 9 equals 9. Check. Let's look at number 2. A number, so we're using the variable b to stand for a number. A number minus 3 equals 7. So we want this b isolated. We want it by itself on this side of the equal sign. So we have to get rid of this minus 3. What is the inverse or opposite of subtracting 3? We need to add 3. This is, remember, this right here is like where our balance is. So we're left with b, a negative and positive of the same number, or zero pair, it goes away, equals 7 plus 3 is 10. So we just found out that b has to be 10. So let's check. 10 minus 3 is 7. What is 10 minus 3? It's 7. So 7 does equal 7. Check. Remember, your work needs to look like my work. We're setting ourselves up for future algebra problems. Because I know most of us could automatically look at that and go, what number minus 3 is 7? Well, fact families, you've been doing those since about 3rd grade. You probably already knew it was 10. But we have to set up our problems the right way to make it to where future algebra is not as difficult. All right, number 3 looks a little bit different. Why does it look different? Talon. It's reversed. Over here we have 4. 4 equals a number minus 8. It doesn't matter. The math is the same. What's happening over here has to be the same as what's happening over here. They have to equal each other. So 4 equals a number minus 8. So we're going to do the same thing. We want the y by itself. So to get the y by itself, we have to undo this subtract 8. What's the opposite of subtracting 8? Adding 8 to both sides. And then just work. 4 plus 8 is 12. Bring your equal sign straight down. Y minus nothing is y. And negative 8 and positive 8. Those make a 0 pair that goes away. So 12 equals y, or the y should be a 12. Rewrite and check the problem. 4 equals 12 minus 8. 4 equals, and what is 12 minus 8? It is 4. hard to see. There it goes. It goes back into focus. All right, any questions about those first three? Is someone asking me something? I hear mumbling. Okay. All right, no questions about these first three. So it's similar to what we were doing, but it was opposite. All right, let's look at number 4. Catherine studied 1 in 2500 hours for her science test. This was a half hour less than she studied for her algebra test. Write and solve a subtraction equation to find out how long she studied for her algebra test. So, yesterday we were pretty good about figuring out the answer, but what we were having a problem with was writing the equation. You've got to write the equation before you do the math. This is really the hard part. This is the part that you're going to struggle with this year. It's the part that my 7th graders still struggle with. They don't understand the writing the equation problem. So, if we have to write a subtraction equation, what kind of equation, or what's the math that we're going to do to solve this problem? Well, we know that what she studied, this was a half an hour less than she studied for her algebra test. Together, we're going to figure out how long she studied. So, 1.25 equals the algebra test minus all right. So we need to figure out how long she studied for her algebra test. That's the unknown. This is the science test. She studied a half an hour less. So the math that we're going to do is we are going to add 5/10 of an hour or half of an hour to both sides. And so we're going to get 1.75 equals A. This goes away, a negative and positive. So, how long did she study for the algebra test? She studied 1.75 hours, or 1 3/4 hours, an hour and 45 minutes. She studied 1 7/75 hours for her, I'll continue it down here, algebra test. All right, any questions on subtraction equations? Luke, you got all that on your paper? All right, so you can work on your independent practice. You've got about 22 minutes left in class, so work on your independent practice. If you need help, come and see me. Yes? No, it's Friday. So as long as you work for the next 22 minutes, I won't make you finish it for homework. Any other questions?